at this point, when Jeffrey was 10, was your husband paying child support for Jeffrey?
He was paying child support for Jeffrey already, and we didn't see Jeffrey again until he was, I want to say maybe like 15 or so. He stopped by the house one day.
And you didn't make any effort to stay in contact with him?
Paying child support doesn't necessarily translate into having custody of a child, even if the child wishes for it. Also, how come a mother won't see the child she supposedly birthed, and she would be fine with that? Paternity court really shows how heartless some parents can be. Child support can be emotionally, physically, and psychologically tasking, especially if there are doubts surrounding the child's paternity. Most men don't even want to pay child support when they are sure the child is theirs, not to mention the men that aren't sure.
Connor, you say a one-time fling with the defendant turned into more than 15 years of child support payments and even jail time you have never believed is yours. You need today's results to prove you are not her child father.
Mr. Connor's one-time fling has put him in trouble as he owes 15 years of child support and has even been to jail. Mr. Connor firmly believes he isn't the biological father of Ms. Wallace's child. Ms. Wallace claims Mr. Connor knows he's the father of her child, and he should just pay up what he owes. There's also the child in question, Mr. Wallace, who is now a young adult claiming he trusts his mother. But lately, there have been reasons to doubt everything.
Because I need to undo a terrible injustice that's been inflicted upon me and my family. It's caused a lot of problems. Poor thing. I've even been to jail November the 5th until January 2006.
That was so sad to hear. Mr. Connor lost everything and had to start over while he was already pushing 40. That must have been tough on him. Mr. Connor regrets this one mistake of laying with Ms. Wallace just one time. Mr. Connor is still owing some bucks, and to top it all off, he's been to jail. That's a dent in his reputation. He will be turned down at different job positions just because of that factor.
Just wants off child support. For one, it was more than just a one-night fling.
And I have you on Facebook.
We have fingers because I'm an adult. But
no,
Your
you're
Honor,
not. What kind of
I'm 40.
adult?
I raised my 3 kids by myself.
It seems these two grown-ups are singing a nursery rhyme with their, I don't back and forth. Ms. Wallace says Mr. Connor didn't know what she and her children had to go through while growing up. But Mr. Connor says, yeah, he shouldn't know because he's not the father, and his father should be blamed. Ms. Wallace also noted it was not just a one-time fling.
The relationship with Ms. Wallace was a one-night stand.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that
relationship? I met her through a family member. We all used to hang out a little bit. She changed her mind, and that was that. I never knew anything about Jeffrey. She had a friend who told me, did you sleep with Wanda?
Now that's a twist. Mr. Connor says he didn't even get to finish the act because Ms. Wallace changed her mind. Mr. Connor being unable to finish the act makes him strongly believe Ms. Wallace has been lying about him being the biological father of Ms. Wallace's son. Mr. Connor has a point, but who knows? Maybe he finished the act and is denying it in court.
In a whole year relationship and we had sex, how I found out that I was pregnant. I got sick. My mom taking me to my doctor's appointment, and that's when I found out I was 2 months pregnant. I called you a lie.
You never told
Back
me.
then we had pagers. Shut your lying butt up.
Ms. Wallace seems to remember things differently than Mr. Connor did. Ms. Wallace says it was a 1-year-long relationship with several sexual encounters with each other. Ms. Wallace also claimed Mr. Connor knew about the pregnancy and all because she told him about it, so he should shut up and stop lying.
He told me that he wanted to be in his son's life. I told him I did not want to be in a relationship with him. You know what? I'm not going to even, disrespect you because I'm a woman.
That's not disrespect.
This man, he wanted to be with me and I did not want to be with him.
I wasn't there.
He never.
Mr. Connor called Miss Wallace a professional liar, but Miss Wallace says she won't match his energy because she's a woman. That's fair enough. Mr. Connor was named the child's father by default as he didn't show up to the court after he was served court papers which he claimed to have not received.
Any effort to stay in contact with him?
I did. I reached out to him on social media because he wrote a big, why was I never part of your family, that kind of stuff. So I called, told him, I'm not your dad. That's why you didn't spend time with the family.
Do you remember writing that?
I do. There was this particular scene from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air having a conversation with his home for me.
Mr. Jeffrey referencing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air makes the entire case quite emotional than it already was. Anyone who watched that particular episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air would understand better how the young man must have felt. Maybe it's time to rip the band-aid off. Will Mr. Connor be right that he isn't his father? Or Ms. Wallace will be having the last laugh?
Mr. Connor, you are not the father.
I already knew it. She committed a crime. She set me up. I knew this all the time.
I understand you are frustrated and I understand you have been through a lot.
Some men like to act like their side pieces are the only ones to be blamed for whatever the consequence of their affair is, maybe a baby or a marriage wreck. While that's a wrong notion, maybe women can also try to avoid men that make them feel less. Let's see who's at fault in Ms. Sales and Mr. Jackson's case.
Sales, you claim that you and the defendant, Mr. Jackson, were in a serious relationship and it was his idea to have a baby. But now that your 3-year-old daughter, Micaiah, is here, he denies being her father. You want him to step up and take care of his daughter. Is that correct?
Ms. Sales says her memory is as sharp as a tack, and she can remember there was a relationship beyond sexual intimacy between her and Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, on the other hand, says that's false, as Ms. Sales was just his side chic. There was nothing serious going on, and he knows Ms. Sales' daughter is not his.
Because I was with D'Amico for 5 years. We were in a relationship. We had our baby, and now because he sits up and talks to his, since the day my daughter was born, because she was light-skinned with gray eyes.
Mr. Jackson, she said you were in a 5-year relationship. Is that true?
No, ma'am.
Side woman? So Mr. Jackson was so willing to have Ms. Sales in his corner because he enjoyed their sexual intimacy more than he did with any other person. Well, Ms. Sales took that seriously as she believed they were a thing with their undefined relationship for half a decade.
So did you make that clear, or were you making her feel like she was your real woman, but really you were?
He was just my side one. I made it clear to her before.
He came to my house every single day. He lived
I
at
did,
my
Yana.
house.
Regardless, you could still make a baby even though she might have been your side woman, father.
Yes, but I wasn't the only man that was smashing.
Mr. Jackson says he agrees to going over every to have a good time with Ms. Sales, which could have possibly resulted in pregnancy. But Mr. Jackson's doubts lies in the fact that he allegedly wasn't the only man having sexual relations with Ms. Sales. Ms. Sales denies the allegation, claiming Mr. Jackson was the only man she was messing with during that period she conceived.
So we had, lost contact. That's when he met his ex, and he never let me know about this relationship he had. I found out because a friend of mine, by the time he actually started trying to confess that he had a girlfriend, we had already been together for see each other unprotected on the regular. He's a sorry liar, period.
Wow. Ms. Sales seems to have juice down there, listening to how Mr. Jackson couldn't hold back and went looking for her immediately she was back in town. Mr. Jackson was already back with his ex-girlfriend, but he couldn't pass up on Ms. Sales' body.
Hospital for something else.
Yes, ma'am.
I went to the doctor because
2
I
months
had a
later.
cyst ruptured piddle. So I was getting a lot of tests ran and things, polyps. So the nurse explained that it was really hard for me to get pregnant and my chances was very slim. But at the time I had already gotten off of birth control, had sex at the hospital.
In the hospital?
Yeah, so after they, got me together and
Mr. Jackson still had sexual intimacy with Ms. Sales while they were at the hospital, and he says she's just a side piece? Ms. Sales has a point with her saying who follows their side piece to the hospital for their health issues? It seems like Mr. Jackson is in self-denial about his feelings for Ms. Sales at this point.
Seems like you at least a possibility.
Yana, one day I was over my family member house and a friend of us called. Possibility could be her baby daddy or anything like that. This was told to me.
that's a lie.
Yes, and a lot of people that called and told me that she was riding around with this cat.
Car riding around with this guy.
Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. True story.
Oh! Mr. Jackson says his doubts came to life from him getting reports about Ms. Sales riding in the car with another dude, and he heard that may be the baby daddy, but Ms. Sales says that's a lie. Ms. Sales says the person who was doing the reporting was Mr. Jackson's ex, who wanted him at all costs and would say anything to paint her black.
What about the guy with the lock?
A random person he found on my messenger that I guess had said, "What's up, sexy? Hey, baby." One of the extra 100 guys that do that too, and he picked that one out because he was light-skinned.
So you're saying he concocted the cheating story after Micaiah was born?
Yes.
One of the extra 100 guys? Ms. Sales must be so hot on Facebook. To be fair, she doesn't look bad in that stand either. She's a pretty woman. Anyway, Mr. Jackson is not falling for Ms. Sales' pretty face anymore since the fates don't add up. And to make matters worse, one of the extra 100 guys in question is white like the baby is. That makes it easy for Mr. Jackson to point fingers.
Mr. Jackson,
I am D'Amico's oldest sister.
you are his oldest sister. All right, I'd like to know what you know about this situation.
D'Amico called me crying one night because he said Ashley admitted to him that she had slept with his. I just told him to take a DNA test, which he said he tried to take one.
Ashley had faked the fallout, started crying.
Faked a fallout? Okay. Mr. Jackson's older sister claimed her brother had confided in her with Ms. Sales' alleged claim of another potential father. The whole story about a fake fallout when a DNA test was about to be done, Ms. Sales says she's not the type to do something like that. Okay, time to get this side piece true relationship story behind us.
Mr. Jackson, you are the father.
Now I know who my baby daddy is.
Miss Sales, I don't run no circus and I don't need no clown.
Understand?
We're talking about a baby.
Women always wanting a particular man to be their baby daddy, but sleeping with multiple men will forever not be funny. But hey, some women sleep with just one man and still get denied when pregnancy happens. Maybe abstaining should be the order of the day.
Ms. McDuffie, you are here today to prove that your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Edwards, is the father of your 2-year-old daughter, Samaya, child, and evading his responsibility. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have real reason to doubt you are the father of Ms. McDuffie's daughter and claim to obtain a DNA test.
Ms. McDuffie says her ex-boyfriend Mr. Edwards fathered her daughter, and she's tired of him denying that fact. Mr. Edwards says he knows for sure he didn't father Ms. McDuffie's daughter, and he can't wait for today's DNA test result to prove it.
Results are important because I know Mr. Sammy Edwards is the father. He's a pop in and pop out dad. One minute he's claiming her, now she's not his daughter. And at this point, I just want my daughter to be taken care of and get the same love and support. Allow him opportunity. I've never denied him from his child, and I'm still getting a
But how I feel about the situation,
Ow! First man in paternity court accepting what the woman said without being forced to. That's a one-of-a-kind thing in paternity court. Okay, Mr. Edwards agrees that he's a pop-in, pop-out dad, like Ms. McDuffie said. Mr. Edwards says his reason for being that way is because he doesn't want to get too attached and later find out he's not the father. That's a fair point, but a DNA test could have been done since birth to avoid all of these.
Mr. Edwards, can you take me to the day you met Ms. McDuffie? How did you all meet?
I saw her she was a waitress behind the bar, you know what I'm saying? I really ain't, pay too much attention to her till she really, walked across all them buns and I had to proceed, so.
He had to proceed.
Yeah.
Proceeded to the buns? That's an interesting way of getting attracted to a woman and meeting her. According to Mr. Edwards, he got curved by Ms. McDuffie, which made their relationship start a little bit later than the day they met. Ms. McDuffie also agreed to that fact, but how come what happened? And Mr. Edward is now denying their alleged baby together?
Out of the situation with him, I guess. So, and that's what it is, I called her, I came and picked up, and we got good food, some good drinky drink. I guess I proceeded to those buns.
Might have proceeded to a bun in the oven too.
Right.
Mr. Edwards seems like a man with a smart mouth. Mr. Edwards knew what he wanted and didn't hesitate to cut to the chase when the time came. Ms. McDuffie is also in the stands smiling from ear to ear like they are not in paternity court, fighting over the paternity of the child they may have brought to life together.
Decide you're gonna date? Do you ever go on a date? Be in a relationship? Does this sexual relationship?
2 weeks, like a week prior to, us having sex in the car, like the second date. It was, she called me and said she was pregnant.
A week? 2 weeks?
It was a week.
No, it was not.
I really didn't believe her, so I came to the house.
Mr. Edwards claimed to have gotten Ms. McDuffie pregnancy test kits to test herself at home, and that was how he knew. There's Ms. McDuffie saying that wasn't how she found out she was pregnant because a blood test was what gave her the results. Well, Mr. Edwards doesn't seem to care so much about that, seeing his uncaring tone and attitude.
I'm not gonna lie to you, a part of me was excited, even though we really didn't know each other because, I love kids and I'm like, man, this child may not mind. Especially, I moved in, you know what I'm saying, and what made me feel like the side that made me, and his whole family hit me up.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
What?
Mr. Edwards got harassed by Ms. McDuffie's ex-boyfriend family on social media. That's nasty. Who goes on social media to yell in another man's face about a baby's paternity? Anyway, Ms. McDuffie tries to deny that ever happened, but from the look of things, it seemed like that indeed happened.
Oh, he can't have kids because we went to the sperm doctor and they said his sperm is this and that, but she just recently said she keep in contact with this guy. He has a daughter. So I'm like,
oh.
How come a man that has been told he can't have kids end up having kids after a short period? Yeah, miracles happen, but some things are just plain lies. Maybe this is one. Ms. McDuffie says she's been open about everything to Mr. Edwards since the very beginning. So Mr. Edwards cannot start acting like he hasn't been informed earlier.
Because we weren't in a we weren't in a relationship. We weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. He was just like a friends with benefits. It was never a relationship in the beginning, and I openly expressed that to Sammy at the time.
Said Miss McDuffie, that really is. That's not what you testified to, but as you getting going, you
no, it's not a lie. It's not a lie.
You can just look at her. You weren't.
Exactly.
Ms. McDuffie seems to be getting her own testimony wrong. Ms. McDuffie says she's an honest person, and she's always open about her dealings to which Mr. Edwards agreed to. But this particular story she just said doesn't make sense, and she has them mismatched. Let's see if she hasn't gotten her baby daddy's identity mismatched.
Mr. Edwards, you are the father.
You knew that, though. I'm not even going
I honestly didn't know.
You knew that.
I honestly didn't know.
You are the father.
Definitely. I'm gonna check and cheese that thing right after this.
Confiding in one's partner might be risky. While the partner that wants to come clean may be thinking they would work it out and get past it, the other party might be unable to ever get over it, and that may ruin the relationship for good. The relationship can sometimes survive the storm, but that doesn't happen every time. Let's see how it goes for Mr. Jungwirth and Ms. Sandknop in this case.
Mr. Jungwirth, you claim the defendant's infidelities not only caused you to cancel your wedding, you're demanding a paternity test to prove you are not the father. Ms. Sandknop, you honest with Mr. Jungwirth, turmoil in your household. Mr. Jungwirth is your child's father.
Mr. Jungwirth's claim translates into Ms. Sandknop committed a grace mistake, which made him pull out of their wedding, and now he doubts the paternity of their 2-year-old. Ms. Sandknop says she confided in her partner, but it ended up biting her back in the butt. However, Ms. Sandknop says she's sure Mr. Jungwirth is her baby daddy.
This ring, Your Honor, our loyalty, our trust, our family, the way we handle things day to day is at stake.
That's a lot, and your ability to be a family.
Yes, Your Honor.
I mean, if he's still having trust issues, then what are we doing here? Why are we still together?
He's unable to move forward with the wedding until he knows for sure.
Yes.
And that hurts you as well.
Yes.
Mr. Jungwirth says everything is at stake if the result comes back negative. Mr. Jungwirth is ready to walk away from everything concerning Ms. Sandknop if the baby isn't his. Ms. Sandknop, on the other hand, says she had no reason to lie to Mr. Jungwirth again since she already came clean about her mistake. But Ms. Sandknop is failing to understand the doubts had already been set in motion, and it will take a lot to get rid of them.
When I found out that she was pregnant, at first I thought it was a joke, but then,
I sent him a picture of the paper of the HC positive test that the doctor had given me. He didn't believe it was the truth.
So you were very happy.
Oh, yeah, extremely.
I can see the emotion right now.
What a beautiful love story. High school sweethearts, young parents with a beautiful baby. Mr. Jungwirth asked Ms. Sandknop to be his wife in the heat of the moment, but unfortunately, the wedding didn't happen. Ms. Sandknop is wiping her tears like a heart-shattering incident happened shortly after. Now we need to know where it all went wrong.
It was right before Christmas. We got in a petty argument for a couple days, and I ended up just wanting to give him his space because he didn't want to talk to me, and I really didn't. So I went to the bar and I got drunk, and I ended up not remembering anything that happened to me that night, and my intention wasn't to cheat on him. I didn't go out to have sex with another guy.
Mrs. Sandknop claimed to have gone to just relax in a bar, but only remember taking a few sips from her drink and waking up in somebody's bed. It looks like Ms. Sandknop got drugged if her story is true, but Mr. Jungwirth isn't ready to hear that story because it seems like a convenient excuse to make.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you know
I
if
felt
you had
guilt
had
immediately. I have no clue. I tried, while I was gathering my things, I was looking around in the garbage can and trying to see if I could find a condom or a condom wrapper, but I didn't find either. Asleep in his bed, and I woke up, I gathered my things, and I left partially.
Ms. Sandknop couldn't tell Mr. Jungwirth immediately after it had happened, but then again, she couldn't hold it in when a baby was already in the equation. Ms. Sandknop looks like she's been honest judging from her expression, but never say never. Mr. Jungwirth can't be blamed for acting up since he doesn't know for sure if Ms. Sandknop is being honest.
It's not just him that's hurting, it's me hurting too, because that 3% possibility that he's not her father, I won't be able to tell her who her father is because I don't know.
And I can see that upsets you.
It's one thing to know if the man in paternity court is not the father. You can contact the other potential father. It's another thing to not know who the other potential father is. Ms. Sandknop's situation is devastating. Mr. Jungwirth's calculation seems to tally as the window of conception matches Ms. Sandknop's unexplainable mistake.
Did you ever try to find the other guy?
I tried my brain to try and remember anything. I can't even remember the name of the bar, remember anything about that night.
And how do
And
I
you
know?
have no idea.
No clue whatsoever.
And I have no clue if this is the only time that she don't remember.
Hold on now, Mr. Jungwirth, you said something important.
Wait a minute, Mr. Jungwirth did all of that and he's acting like he hasn't done anything to hurt this woman back? That's not cool. Well, back to the reason these two are in paternity court. Ms. Sandknop says she genuinely can't remember anything dating back to the unfortunate day. Hopefully the baby's father is the man in the stand to avoid a child growing up without knowing her father.
I trust him 100%. I trust him.
Do you trust her, Mr. Jungwirth?
No, he does not.
Not wholeheartedly.
Well, you
no.
asked the court for a lie detector test, and that lie detector test was administered. We will have those results in just a moment. One of the reasons why you don't trust her, but why?
There's been, in the beginning, even while she was pregnant with our...
Mrs. Sandknop is so emotional, and we can all see why. Ms. Sandknop says she hasn't been messing around, and even the unsaved number was a friend of Mr. Jungwirth. And what's with the name calling? Mr. Jungwirth could have just let Ms. Sandknop go if he couldn't get past the situation on sane grounds. It's time to put Ms. Sandknop and Mr. Jungwirth out of their misery of not being sure about the paternity of their child.
You were asked if you had sexual relations with anyone other than Mr. Jungwirth since the one-night stand you admitted to. You said no. The lie detector determined that was the truth.
I told you! Not everybody is on this earth to hurt your feelings.
You do understand, however, that Peyton's paternity is still in doubt.
Yes, Your Honor, I do understand.
We looked at the calendar.
In-laws being actively involved in a marriage can either be a blessing or a curse. While some in-laws are the best thing that could happen to a wife, some in-laws can be a real pain in A's, and these two options can either make or mar a marriage.
Mr. Gray, you are suing your wife and the mother of your daughter for a paternity test. You and your parents claim Mrs. Gray lied to you about her sexual past, and since the baby is not your biological daughter. Mrs. Gray, you claim that your in-laws' influence is meant to deny his child. You also say your husband has not.
Mr. Gray wasn't aware of Ms. Gray's past life, and upon knowing how Ms. Gray's life was back on the day, Mr. Gray and his family doubts the paternity of their child. However, Ms. Gray stated that Mr. Gray is getting carried away with his family's words, and she knows for a fact that Mr. Gray fathered her baby.
Well, considering the fact that the first time that she come to our home, that particular day she and...
How old were they when...
She was 14 and he was 15 years old.
Okay, my mouth off the ground.
Okay.
They went to his bedroom
Yes,
and
ma'am.
had sex.
Yes, ma'am.
A 14 and a 15-year-old going into the bedroom to do what grown-ups do is wild enough, but Mr. Gray's mother making it seem like it was only Ms. Gray's fault makes it even worse. Maybe an advanced kind of parenting could have hindered that from happening, ma'am. Anyway, Mr. Gray's mother finding out Ms. Gray knew how to use a pregnancy test kit made her more mad. Well, maybe she was paying more attention in sex ed.
Was enrolled in school. He'd always been involved in sports, popular child. He always made very good decisions. He had a relationship before. I had furnished him a condom in case he ever wanted to have sex.
Discussion with him about responsibility?
Absolutely, positively. He had a complete goal. He was going to be a police officer, and everything changed.
Mr. Gray's mother already furnished him with condoms in case of situations like that of his and Ms. Gray's, but all of a sudden, Mr. Gray's mother is not blaming her son for not using the condom he had gotten her. She's blaming Ms. Gray instead for loving a fast life. Mr. Gray's mother is talking about the bright future as a police officer like he couldn't still go on to be one if he wanted.
Mr. Honor, Kahlon and I, we met through Facebook. Went out on our first date to a basketball game. About a week later, we had our second date, and she came to my mother's house. She stayed for a couple days.
Oh, the second date lasts a couple days?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow, 15 and 14 years old, 2-day dates? Never heard of such.
A date is supposed to last a couple hours, but Mr. Gray and Ms. Gray's date is different, seeing how it lasts for 2 days. Mr. Gray's mother says they were supposed to be by the Christmas tree, so maybe they got away while she wasn't looking.
You found out that she was pregnant. Did you feel like this could possibly be my child?
No, I didn't, because when she was 14 years old and I was 15, we decided to have sex, and I figured at my house at such a young age, why wouldn't she have sex with somebody else? I knew for a fact that I had details on reasons why the baby couldn't be mine.
Mr. Gray's mother is doing a lot more than the two people directly involved in the case. But what's with the baby coming out black, and Ms. Gray's family still saying Mr. Gray has to accept that's his baby? A black baby from 2 white parents just doesn't seem plausible, even in biology.
Did you say on that date, that second long date?
But he also agreed to, because obviously I turned up pregnant.
So you all are 14 and 15 years old, 2 babies making a decision that y'all gonna have a baby.
Yeah.
Why? Because you all feel like you hit it off so much?
A 14 and 15-year-old making plans about having a baby? That's insane. It's either their parents brought them up to think like this, or their infatuation got the best of them and made them think that was the way to go. These kids don't even know how to fill up important personal forms in a hospital just yet, not to talk of cuddling up and talking about making babies. Oh well, the baby has been made.
And she admitted to it. She actually admitted to him sleeping with 6 other people than me.
6 different guys at 14 years old? Hollywood has got to slow down with the rated movies. The little lady hasn't even done her sweet 16th birthday, and her reproductive part has been working overtime. Whew, they may not have allowed Mr. Gray's mother to conduct a DNA test then, but here we are now.
Why Mr. Gray may have doubt about your child, considering you admitted to sleeping with 6 other young men.
Yes, Your Honor.
I want to hear from your witness, Ms. Gray. You have your grandmother,
Yes,
Ms.
I do, Your
Wohlhart, here.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. How are you?
Ms. Gray's grandmother said she's been the one caring for the child for years, but Mr. Gray's mother interrupted her, saying she had tried her best to be there for the baby, and for the fact that they doubt the paternity of the baby so much, maybe she has tried enough. Okay, that's valid. Let's find out if Mr. Gray's family will have to resume taking care of the child, or it will be left to Ms. Gray's family for good.
Mr. Gray, you are her father.
I love you guys so much.
Now that's what I want to see. That is a wonderful example